What's going on, guys? It's Phantom Base here, coming at you with our kind of a combo video here. This week I wanted to go really quickly and explain to you that, yes, we are insane. We decided to take over a team for a league. Now granted, they have like 3 weeks left, so it's nothing crazy, but it is a Wi-Fi league, and I figured you guys would enjoy seeing, some good old Wi-Fi content since the APA is done and the WPA has not started yet. And that's a little bit of a spoilers thing, but y'all saw us announce, so it doesn't matter. And the only other Wi-Fi league, I think this is the only, and the IBL is finishing up too, so. Yeah. ITL has started. I'm going to be recording and uploading that battle probably after this. So, without much further ado, let me explain to you what's going on. We are in the PGL. Taking over for Sharpdress Gaming, who had to drop due to real life circumstances. I get it. Believe me, been there, done that. I know all about that. However, the commissioner decided to reach out to me after me trying to get in a few times to take over for drop teams. This league's had a bit of a tough time with teams, and I'm trying to be a little consistent, So, without much further ado, let's go over the team that we originally started with, which, let me tell you, is not the prettiest sight in the world. Let me see. Ooh, I'm gonna have to go back out to the store later. Anyway, yeah, let me check this team out real fast. Remember what I drafted and such. So yeah, let me see. Okay, so originally I had Mega Venusaur, Tyranitar with Z Crystals, Rotom Wash, Chandelure, Registeel, Dragalge, Beware, Gramble, Cresselia, Porygon Z with Z Crystals, and Marowak. And a couple of things stood out in that team that I really didn't like. One, my fastest mom was Porygon Z, which is like base 90, I think. So automatically a no-no. Second off, my slowest mom was Marowak. Or actually maybe even Dragalge at 44. But everything was crammed at like the 80 to 85 speed tier. And I'm not a fan of that. And on top of that, this team is incredibly passive. So with that, we got to make 5 free agency transactions, which is wonderful. So that gave me enough wiggle room to work with. And I'm going to quickly explain to you this team. I couldn't drop all the, I hate to say it this way, but I couldn't drop all the mods I didn't like. So we just had to stick with some of the ones that we had and go with it. So first things first, we dropped Mega Venusaur for Mega PGL very quickly. Because one, that gives me a phenomenal speed tier, 121. It also gives me access to some nice and spammable no guard, hurricanes, heat waves, hyper beams if you want to go that route. Nice and U-turn. This gives me some defog. It gives me a defog option that I really didn't have in that team. Like literally my defog was Rotom Wash, and that is all that I had. So this gives me a more reliable defogger. That way I don't have to solely rely on Rotom for my hazard removal. Now, next up, we did keep Tyranitar, and for good reason, because T-Tar is such a crazy good mon, and I figured I can make it work, T-Tar is a really, really good mon. Very, very bulky, very, very powerful. Nice, well-rounded stats outside of his speed, but even then he gets set up with Rock Polish or Dragon Dance, whatever have you. This thing is just a monster. And with the ability to set up rocks, it can be a taunter. And on top of that, just the nice speed def boost he gets from the sand is just ridiculous. So yeah, T-Tar, really good mon. I also decided to keep Rotom Wash because of its speed tier and its bulk, and not to mention the fact that, like I said, it's another defogger, and I wanted to make sure that I kept that around because I needed to have a little bit extra hazard removal options just in case though my team isn't incredibly weak to hazards, especially the new team I drafted, is not really weak to hazards, which is really good. So I also managed to keep Chandelure, which, base 80 speed is nothing terrible, but that special attack is what I'm looking at. Really solid special attack. Because originally my team was nothing but like fat, and I wanted something. I wanted to make sure that I kept the power that I had while still keeping some of the bulk and having more reliable bulk, not just passive mons like Cresselia or Gramble or Registeel. Though I did manage to keep Registeel, but I'll explain that one in a second. Chandelure, really good Scarfer, really solid option with all of its coverage is ridiculous. I didn't change any Z Crystal users, sadly. So, but to be fair, the ones I had are really good. So yeah, this thing is really solid bulk too. 90 into the defenses is nothing to sneeze at. And this thing just really can be really good in the right matchup, and all of its abilities are phenomenal. Flash Fire and Infiltrator in particular. Because yeah, anyway, the next mon I decided to keep was Registeel, like I said. This thing is really good for hazards. I really wanted a solid hazard setter. Like, T-Tar is a good hazard setter. Registeel is almost always going to get rocks up. The only one that gets rocks up easier than Registeel is Clefable, really. This thing's also really good for anti-setup. You can bring like a Subtoxic set. You could bring a Curse set. You could bring an Explosion set. You could bring You really could bring a lot of sets on this thing. And on top of that, this thing is Thunderwave, which is really good for speed control, especially with a mon like this that gets a lot of interesting coverage and interesting setup options too. You can also use this as a block set to kind of trap things in if you wanted to. So not the worst thing in the world. It's not always passive. So one main reason why I kept Registeel. Next one I changed Dragalge out because I wanted something a bit faster and a bit scarier for people to deal with. So I grabbed Kyurem. I got regular Kyurem because look at that bulk, look at that speed, look at that power. Holy cow, this thing, there's not a solid switch into this thing outside of maybe a bulky steel. And even then, this thing gets earth power. This thing gets so much crazy coverage, it's ridiculous. Like, I can run a physical set with Supersonic Sky Strike, or not Sky Strike, it's not Zmon sadly, but I can run all sorts of crazy good moves on this thing. This thing could be really good as a sub-roof set, really good physical, really good special. Like, this thing is so solid, and it's so bulky that people have to prep for both kinds, a bulky set or an offensive set. Really solid Scarfer, and really good as a specs user too, so I'm interested to use this thing. Next mon I decided to drop was Beware, and it ended up grabbing Quillfish instead, and boy do I love Quillfish. Really slept on mon. In conjunction with Intimidate, this thing is really stinking bulky. It doesn't need to be. It's a good Fizdef wall, good hazard setter, great taunter. This thing is at the right speed tier to taunt the proper mons. Like, you can taunt down so many things that are below base 85, and there's so many mons that are below base 85 that are just so easy for the Quillfish to taunt down, and then just set up hazards all over them, or just go out into another mon like Chandelure or Tyranitar or Pidgeot. Like, there's so many things you could use Quillfish as a really good pivot, and I really like Quillfish in that role. Also, a really good hazard setter, really good. Just, it's so slept on, and don't sleep on it as a sweeper either. Swift Swim with Swords Dance Aqua Jet, you don't sweep on Quillfish. Okay, that's all I gotta say about that. Next up, we decided to drop Gramble. I wanted a better fairy. I wanted a Wish Passer. I wanted Gardevoir. Funny enough, I look back in the transactions. This guy dropped Gardevoir for Dragalge. So I turned around and picked Gardevoir back up. So, because we needed my wife as someone on this team. So I figured, why not grab Gardevoir, right? So, Gardevoir, phenomenal. Yeah, it shares a speed tier with Chandelure, but it's also a phenomenal Scarf user. It's a great bulky. It can be great bulky. And surprisingly, even though it doesn't gain any Fizdef from Mega Evolution, that means you can easily use it as a somewhat physically defensive Pokemon, because 68 HP and 65 defense is respectable, and a quad weakness to fighting is really nice. So, and on top of that, Fairy Spam is incredibly good in this format. So, with 125 base special attack, you don't switch in easily to this thing, especially with the coverage it gets, like Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, plus any hidden power you want, Psychic, or Psyshock, Shadow Ball, I mean, this thing is Thunder Wave. Like, like I said, you can't. Don't sleep on a Trick Room set either. This thing could be really scary if used properly with the right team. And the next Pokemon, I decided to grab a more bulky mon. I finally decided to pick up some extra bulk here besides just a Quillfish. So instead of grabbing the passive Cresselia, I decided to go with a much more bulky mon that Johnny GB dropped in this same week. So I decided to grab Deoxys Defense. Because my team was the only one without a busted mon on it. So why not, right? This thing has pressure. That's really, really good in this format. Because PP stalling down low PP moves like Moonlight or Roost or like stuff like that. It's just really nice. Plus this thing has a really nice speed tier in 90. It gets Taunt, it gets Rocks and Spikes, it gets Recover, it gets, I think it gets Calm Mind, doesn't it? Yes, it gets Calm Mind. So you might see me run a Crow Deoxys or a Vine Deoxys 1 week. This thing's gonna be unbreakable. You never know when I'm gonna bring it though, because there may be some weeks I just bring an offensive set with Nasty Plot. That's the thing. This thing is so much crazy offensive setup. There's the proper speed tier to be able to really just abuse the fact that he can get Nasty Plot and just break through a team. Nasty Plot Psycho Boost is just evil. On top of that, like I said, Recover just increases longevity. And if I recall correctly, does this thing get Refresh? That would be crazy if it did, but no it doesn't. But it gets Rest, which is really nice. Also gets, like I said, holy crap, hold on. Anyway, gets T-Wave, gets Amnesia, which is evil. I'm sure it gets Iron Defense too, somewhere in there. Yeah, Iron Def and Amnesia would just be evil, but it also gets a Mirror Coat and Counter, which is a lot of fun to people think about. It gets Throat Chop, which is really nice for some other things, potentially preventing Heal Bell. So yeah, all good things. Also gets Agility. So like I said, this thing is a really solid setup on, and it has the bulk to pull it off, and the speed to not necessarily make it an easy taunt subject either. So Deoxys, really good mon, really good hazard setter, nice taunt support, and yeah. Next Pokemon, we decided to keep the last two mons on our teams for Porygon Z as a Z Crystal user, because base 90 speed is nice, adaptability makes it phenomenal, and then to turn it all around, you've got Nasty Plot plus Agility, makes this thing almost impossible to switch in on if you go for Tri Attack. After you get a Nasty Plot up, plus an Agility, Tri Attack and a coverage move, just poop on teams. The end, that's all I need. Plus, you're going to Breakneck Blitz or something like that, this thing just wrecks shop. Plus, it's bulky. Like, this thing can be bulky, so don't sleep on Porygon Z. Last mon is Marowak. Didn't really, the only reason I kept it is because I don't have an electric immunity. And, at the moment, and, the only reason I kept it is because, I couldn't afford to get rid of it. Because I didn't have any other mons that I'd already dropped all the mons I wanted to and picked up the ones I wanted. So, yeah, that's the team. And so with that, we're going to go into our battle versus J-Specs, the coach of the Carolina Pyroars. We're actually going to go over our team prep real fast. So, as you will see right here, I decided to go ahead and show you guys that the concept behind this team was, let me go ahead and read you his team, because I'm pretty sure you guys should know it now. He has Z-Mew, Z-Garchomp, Florges, Raikou, Chestnut, Blastoise, Mega Charizard Y, Doublade, Sneasel, Lycanroc, Day, and Licky. So, right off the bat, I knew that the couple threats that I would need to look for were Lycanroc, Mega Charizard Y, Raikou, and Licky. And as far as, yeah, Charizard, Lycanroc, Charizard, Raikou, Chestnut, and Zard Y. Charizard, Lycanroc, Raikou, and then Chestnut was actually something I was really scared of, because if you brought a Substalic set, I was going to have trouble. So I needed to, because outside of like a Scarfmon, Substalic Chestnut kind of pooped on my team. So, because the way this works, I believe level 100 it wouldn't outspeed, but at level 50 it can outspeed my Mega Pidgeot, so I had to be wary. So we decided to go with most of my mons being able to handle Deoxys Defense, or not Deoxys, Chestnut. So first off, we have Deoxys Defense. I hope you don't hate the name too much, but it was fun. I love Matty, he's a good guy. The concept of this team is to hazard stack him, because if you look at his team, his hazard removal is literally Charizard, Blastoise, and Florges. That MU. That is literally it. Before this, he had Mega Arrow, which I would have seen as a better Defogger. But now that he has Charizard, I don't see him bringing Defog Charizard. There's no reason for him to bring Defog Charizard. He's got to bring an offensive set to try to break through my team. I don't see him bringing Rapid. I don't see him bringing Blastoise because I have so many things to capitalize on it. Things like Rotom's poop on it. Kyurem is an easy switch into it. Coolfish can use it as bait. I can taunt it down. I can switch into my honestly, like, there's just so many ways I can capitalize on it. Registeel sets up on it all day long, and he can't toxic me. And the only way he would get rid of me is Roar. Yeah, Rotom, like I said, it's pretty much a free switch in, and I can just Volt Switch all over the place. Pidgeot is easy to spam moves against it. It's just, I didn't really see him bringing Blastoise this match, because it didn't do a whole lot for him, and Gardevoir could easily potentially use it as setup bait. Because I could sub up on it and taunt it down with Gardevoir, and then just call mine up and spam Moonblast forever against his team. Because his switch into Moonblast is literally Doublade. And that's all. He has no Moonblast switch in. So, the concept behind this team, like hazard stack, and then offensively pressure the crap out of him. So, Deoxys defense. This set is intended to not get capitalized on by either Mew nor Garchomp. It is my guaranteed switch into Garchomp every time. So, this thing takes nothing. I think it can't be 2-hit KO by a +2 Earthquake from Garchomp, and is also not OHKO by a +2 Tectonic Rage, and dies to Ice Beam. Or that thing dies to Ice Beam. If he's Tectonic Rage. If he's Yashi, he can't win that exchange either, because I click Ice Beam, pops Yashi on his +2 Earthquake, and we live comfortably to take the second hit, and then kill with Ice Beam. So, yeah, knockoff is knockoff. And knockoff is to get rid of the potential item on Sneasel or Florges, Chestnut, Blastoise, Doublade, or even Licky. Like, literally, I brought knockoff on this thing to get rid of any items, because all items gone is perfect. And recover, because I want this thing to be living. This thing has to take hits. This thing has to recover up on his more passive mons, and it has to get up spikes for me, because his only levitating mons are literally Charizard. The rest of his entire team just hates spikes, and as you'll see later, they hate toxic spikes too. So, and you will see clearly that that's what I'm going for here. So the next component of our hazard stacking core is my Tyranitar, Godzilla, the regular Tyranitar, Sandstream, because we need to counter out his son. But I also expect him to bring a Lycanroc. And if he brings Lycanroc, I expect it to have either Brick Break or Drill Run. Drill Run he can't kill me with. So we kill with Earthquake on that regard. I also expect him to bring Charizard with Focus Blast, and we guarantee live a Focus Blast and kill with Rock Slide. So that's the thing. So T-Tar rocking enough attack EVs to kill Lycanroc, even if he's got some bulk investment. We also obviously one-shot Tyranitar. We two-shot Raikou, any Raikou. We with this set we also two-shot defensive Mew if it switches out with Pursuit, and we can set up rocks pretty much for free on so many things. We set up rocks for free on Florges. We set up rocks for free on Licky. We set up rocks for free on Charizard. Pretty much every time, so. So yeah, this thing is my only liability for Chestnut. And like I said, everything else that I have, like the speed and Deoxys is outspeeding a max speed. Everything else, this thing is outspeeding max speed Chestnut. Also outspeeding max speed Modest Florges. So that's really nice. This Tyranitar is the only thing not creeping that. So, and we don't really need it to creep anything. It's meant to be defensive and to handle Charizard, and also to handle Raikou. Because the only variant of Raikou that could potentially kill me is like a +2 Aura Sphere into another +2 Aura Sphere. Like, this thing is just so freaking bulky with a sand up. So That's the whole point of this thing, is just to get sand up to counter out his son. And I know he's going to try to bring Lycan Rock, or I feel like he's going to try to bring Lycan Rock to counter out my sand. Or to capitalize on my sand, I should say. So, that's why we have EQ. And also for Raikou, because we two-shot that. Anyway, next bomb we have is our Choice Specs Rotom. With, sorry, this thing is supposed to be about flying. We're going to set you level 100 real fast. Just so we can show the IVs we had on this thing. Because we did Hyper Train finally. We've started Hyper Training now. So we brought Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Hydro, and HP Flying. HP Flying is solely for the Chestnut, because I don't need HP Ice, because Hydro Pump 2-hit kills Garchomp regardless. Hydro Pump 2-hit kills an offensive Mew. Hydro Pump can potentially 2-hit kill a physically defensive Florges. This thing is so stinking powerful. And I'm only running enough speed, like I said, too. I was going to originally run a Modest set, but I wanted more bulk to be able to handle a Lycan Rock, as well as a Raikou. Because we can 2-hit kill Raikou with Hydro Pump. We can one-shot Lycan Rock. We one-shot Charizard with Volt Switch. There's so many things we kill just with this mod. Like, there is no safe switch-ins to this thing. Sneasel dies. Licky gets 2-shot by Hydro Pump if he's physically defensive. Or even if he's Spadef, I think he still gets 2-shot. It's a roll, I think. Doublade drops to Hydro Pumps. Chestnut drops to 1 HP Flying, unless he's Koba Berry. Yeah, there's not much to say about this Rotom. It's creeping Chestnut, and outside of that, we just poop on everything. Next up, we have a Scarf Gardevoir, and this set once again is creeping a max speed Chestnut, because this is my main check to a Sub-Salic Chestnut. Because if I can get the sub broken to where he's not going to, or sub Belly Drum Salic set. So if he somehow gets the Salic set, but I get his sub taken away, then he can't do anything about it because I outspeed him. Guaranteed. I'm scarfed to check that. And we have Psyshock for general damage against things like Florges, against Sub-Calm Raikou, against Licky that might be Spadef. And yeah, Shadow Ball hits Mew, Shadow Ball hits Doublade, and yeah, Moonblast just hits everything else. Literally has no switch-ins. And Healing Wish is particularly there for me to heal back up either my Deoxys or my Rotom to potentially clean up late game once I've weakened everything. So that's the entire point of this set. We are modest because we can afford to be, because it allows us to one-shot Garchomp. Otherwise, if we were timid, we would not be. It would be a roll to one-shot Garchomp. Whereas Modest guarantees one-shot Garchomp with the bulk he needs to outspeed some of my mons. Now, next mon we have is our Assault Vest Chandelure with Flash Fire to bluff the Infiltrator set, so he can't just be a Sub-Salic Chestnut. We're bringing Shadow Ball, HP Ice, Flamethrower, and Clear Smog. HP Ice for us to one-shot the Garchomp. The Garchomp, we are outspeeding once again Chestnut. Flamethrower one-shots Chestnut. Clear Smog is to prevent setup on anything. Mew cannot set up on us. Garchomp cannot set up on us. Florges cannot set up on us. Raikou cannot set up on us. Chestnut, nope. Zardwai, this thing counters Zardwai unless he's running Earthquake. And if he's running Earthquake, we do have an answer for that. Like I said, we have this thing is a really solid answer to just a regular specially offensive Charizard. It is kind of bait for Lycan Rock and for Doublade, but we do have answers to those things as well, in the form of Zard being kind of handled by my Tyranitar and my Deoxys, and Doublade being handled by my Tyranitar and my my Tyranitar and my Nexamon, as well as my Rotom. So, yeah, not much to say about the Chandelure set other than the fact that it's just there to counter out Charizard. It also helps counter out Raikou, and it's an easy switch into Florges to let me hit things hard. If it's special Mew, we're not taking anything from that thing, and we can handle Licky pretty well unless he's physical. This thing is just pretty much anti-setup. We got clear smog just for that, and this spit F investment allows us to take max. I want to say, like we literally are immune to his. I don't know. We take very little from an air slash from Charizard. Just to give you an idea. Now, next up, I think we take like 38 to 46 or something like that. It's ridiculous. Next mon we have, and are the glue to this team, and the reason why this team works so well, is we are bringing our GOAT, the Cool Fish. Black Sludge set with Intimidate, Toxic Spikes, Taunt, Liquidation, Poison Jab. We are running, this EV spread is very particular. We are running enough speed to creep Chestnut, also meaning we're creeping a defensive slash modest Florges. We're running Toxic Spikes, Taunt, Liquidation, and Poison Jab for this reason. His team hates Toxic Spikes. He has no grounded Poison type. He has no Poison type, period. So Toxic Spikes screws his team really bad. Taunt allows me to stop him from defogging, stop him from heal belling. The only thing that can handle that is his oblivious Licky. And Poison Jab, if he goes hard in Licky on my Toxic Spikes, I can Poison Jab for the poison. Liquidation can help me lower defense and just start spamming moves. The combination of Liquidation and Poison Jab goes literally unresisted on his team. Poison Jab lets me do around 33 to 40% of Chestnut if he's Fizz Def. Garchomp takes like between 33 and 40 from Liquidation as well. Florida's 2-shot every time. The only mons that give this thing trouble are Raikou and Mew, really. This thing is my guaranteed switch into Lycanroc, as well as my guaranteed switch into Doublade, because he can't do anything. Doublade can't touch this set, and we can taunt it to prevent it from setting up Swords Dances. We can Liquidation it to death, and Doublade has no reliable recovery. So, and this thing also allows us to pretty well handle Blastoise. We can taunt, we can Toxic. Well, you can't Toxic us. Best thing you can do is Roar. And if we taunt him down first, he can't do that. And we can freely go into something to capitalize on it, like Rotom, or even to an extent Gardevoir. Though I wouldn't bravely switch that thing on that too easily. But if he decides for whatever reason to bring an own tempo, Licky to try not to get confused by Hurricanes from my Pidgeot, then we can taunt that thing down too. So, yeah, that's this team. Essentially, the point of this team is to wear his team down with hazards. Between these three mons, we shouldn't have a problem with that. Rotom can break his team. Chandelure can switch in and really pressure his team really well too. And Gardevoir is just really good cleanup. Or if I see that Rotom becomes win condition, or even something like Deoxys becomes win condition, Gardevoir can just pass a Healing Wish, go straight into one of these two, or even into Chandelure and just clean up the game. So that's the point of this team. Now we're going to I say we're going to pause. We're really not going to pause here. We're just going to go into the video at this point because I want to. So bear with me as I go into this video, because I don't feel like editing today. It's kind of it's one of those days. I just don't feel like editing. So yeah, let me pause this right. Let me pause this video right here so we can switch into that. Now, here's what we're gonna do. Switch in 3, 2, 1. Nope. Did that do it? No. Okay. Here it is. Okay. All right. In 3, 2, 1. There. All right. So we're here. And as you can see, this matchup kind of looks really heavy in our favor. First off, we prep for everything he's got. He didn't bring Lycanroc, and which is good because that means I've guy can preserve Cool Fish for things like Florges and Chestnut and Licky. He also didn't bring Raikou, which means that my Chandelure can pretty much be saved solely for Charizard or for Florges, and it also gives my Tyranitar the freedom to really only have to deal with Charizard, or even Mew if I want to Pursuit Trap that. It also gives my my Gardevoir pretty much free reign to pretty much safely assume that the only Scarfer potential that he has here is his Garchomp, because any other Scarfers are either Mew or irrelevant. So, he doesn't. Looking at the team composition, I guarantee you, he's going to lead. He's got, just looking at his team, I see Bulk in Chestnut, Florges, and Licky, and I see offense in Garchomp, Charizard, and potentially Mew. If not, his Chestnut is offensive and his Mew is defensive. We'll have to see. But I'm not sleeping on offensive Mew, not until I can scout his set. The main point of this, I've got to scout this set. I've got to scout this team. So I figured what better way than to scout with my Scarfer. So I thought Gardevoir had a really good matchup here, because his switch into Moonblast was literally Charizard, and we had guaranteed ways to handle that thing. So yeah, Gardevoir was a really safe lead here. So that's what we decided to do, because if he wants to lead Garchomp, he will not get rocks up for free. If he wants to lead with Florges, he's going to have to take a chunk of damage. If he wants to lead with Licky, he's going to have to take a chunk of damage. So we lead Gardevoir, as he does lead out with Rochambeau, his Garchomp. So here, right away, there's no reason for me not to spam Moonblast here. So he does make the proper play and switches out and goes hard into his Mew, which I thought was odd, because I think he was trying to scout my set, so expecting a Will-O-Wisp, maybe, I don't know. But we click Moonblast here and do a hefty chunk of damage, telling me that this thing is clearly offensive. Though he does show leftover, so I'm thinking he might be a setup set. Anyway, he shows lefties here, like I said, which is really, it's not problematic for me. It tells me that he's not a Z-Crystal, which is lovely. It also tells me that he is not a Cobra Berry or a Cassie Berry, which means that my Gardevoir instantly checks this thing every time, because he's also not Scarfed. So this Gardevoir is an instant offensive check to this Mew, because with it this low already, especially because how much he took from the Moonblast, I knew he was offensive. So that means that that Chestnut could either be defensive, or he could be bluffing and be more of a support Mew with like max HP, max speed. So, but this really proved to me that he was not highly invested in bulk. He may have had a little bit, but not a whole lot. So my play here was to Moonblast, potentially shoot for the roll to a KO here. I had no reason not to. So here I click Moonblast again, as you'll see right here, and he doubles out again and goes into his Licky, which was the play I expected the first time. So he's scouting my set, I guess, just to see what I'm doing. I click Moonblast again, and he takes around 40% from that. It tells me that this thing is kinda Spadef. I think I may have gotten a high roll here. I'm not sure. But this thing also shows leftovers. And clearly I knew it was going to be bulky, so there wasn't really a surprise on that end. However, this does tell me... Hold on. My headset is messing up. Anyway, so... we're gonna double check and make sure that this didn't mess up at all. Really quick. Okay. Okay, cool. Oops. Alright, back here. So yeah, this defensive Licky was not going to be an issue for my team. I have ways to handle it with offensive Rotom, as well as Gardevoir late game too. So we're going to just let this thing get some recovery back, and I believe here I make the switch into Rotom here to capitalize on him probably going for Wish here. Nope, I go into Quillfish here, because I knew every time... But funny thing is that I did not actually predict that toxic. That's what's so funny. I went to Quillfish because this thing is always free setup for toxic spikes, and with an intimidate up, this thing can't do a KO me if it's defensive. So, and it also will get Black Sludge recovery on the top of that. So, me getting toxic spikes up was a top priority, because that really wore his team down, especially things like this Licky Licky and Florges if he didn't have aromatherapy or heal bell support, as well as his other mons, because everything he brought, I believe, was grounded. So, which meant that my team was pretty free to just spam toxic spikes. Oh, Charizard was the only thing not grounded. So, here I decided that, like I said, toxic spikes was top priority. It so happened that I got the switch in on his toxic, which was great news for me. Great scouting and no harm done to me. So he goes into his Garchomp, which I was kind of expecting. And I did click toxic spikes here, which was really good because that meant I forced him to switch into something that would take toxic spikes. Now here, I was thinking he's going to go for one of two things here. He's going to go for Swords Dance expecting me to switch, or he's going to go for Rocks expecting me to switch. Because you don't make a power play into Garchomp like that unless you're going to go for Rocks or for Swords Dance. So, and I figured he was going to try to capitalize on not being intimidated, and he was going to try to go hard for an SD. So I figured I'm going to go into my Rotom, because that way, this way it forces him to go for one of two moves. He either has to go for Dragon Claw, or potentially Z Outrage. If he's Z Outrage, he kills me, but that also tells me he's got Tectonic Rage, meaning that I can actually come back in and kill him with Gardevoir. But if he's Tectonic Rage, my Rotom can live a +2 Dragon Claw and can potentially kill him back with the Hydro Pump. Now, the thing here is he's got to respect the Scarf Rotom, as well as the Scarf Rotom HP Ice. He's really got to respect that, and that hard play for me going hard into Rotom really should have told him that could have told him I was scarfed. That was kind of my intent. I was trying to bluff the Scarf so that I could in turn around and scare him after I killed something off, or did a whole lot of damage to something that came in. So he makes the play of switching out because he thinks I'm scarfed, and he goes into his Charizard here. But I clicked Hydro Pump because I don't have HP. I say HP Flying, so I go for Hydro here, and I just blow this Charizard to smithereens. It doesn't even have a chance to Mega Evolve. This thing just gets blown back. So right now we're in a good spot. So really now I have an expendable mon in the back. I have an expendable mon in the back in Chandelure at this point, because it literally does nothing else for my team. I've got checks for everything he's got at this point. Mew cannot break through the combination of Deoxys Defense and Quillfish. There's just no possible way. Not with the set that I'm expecting him to have. So I expect him to be more of a stall breaker set, which would have been really good against my team. So, he gets poisoned, which is really nice. So I expect him 100% here to try to either Toxic me, or to go for a setup move of some kind, or maybe even go for a Roost here. So I figured my play was to scout for damage 100% and see if this thing was bulky or not, because the Moonblast damage didn't tell me as much as I wanted it to. However, this Specs Hydro Pump will tell me 100%. And also because I wanted to keep him low and let the poison keep racking up damage on him. So this Hydro, you'll see, to this Mew, does like 75%. It's ridiculous how much this thing takes. So in conjunction with the leftovers plus the poison damage, this thing is really sinking low, meaning that he has to either click Roost again and potentially get killed, or switch out and go into something that can take the Hydro, like Licky Licky or Chestnut. So I'm expecting him to go hard out to Licky Licky. So I go into my Florges here, or not Florges, my Gardevoir, as he actually makes a play and goes for Facade, which was really smart on his part. That was really cool prep to see. But I knew my Gardevoir could live it because one, Facade's not stab, so that's really nice. Two, the only way he could have killed me is if he was Bandit or Life Orb, and he's shown leftovers. So literally he had no boosting item, and he had no boosts. So he wasn't killing me. Even an Adamant Mew couldn't have killed me from that range, from full. So, and this left my Gardevoir in a good spot, because I could literally just leave it in and start spamming Moonblast. So his Mew is low enough now to where it's pressured to either to sack or stay in. And I figured he was going to find his Mew a little bit too important, so I think he thought he was going to go back into Licky Licky here. But on the off chance he stayed in to sack, I did click Moonblast again, I believe. So the good news is that we get the Licky Licky poison now too. So here's what Rubber meets the road, is I'm expecting him 100% to go for either Wish or for Heal Bell here. Because Heal Bell would have made so much sense, because he could have lived a second Moonblast, maybe even a third Moonblast. Well, I don't know, not after poison damage. But so here I think I decided to click Moonblast again. No, I switch out. I switch out and I think I go hard Rotom. Nope, I go and do Tyranitar. That's what it is. I go to T-Tar because I want to get rocks up. And because I want to start negating these things leftovers. And that way I could potentially force them out. And actually, you know what? Here's what my thought process was here. I knew 100% he was going to go for a Wish. He needed to keep this thing healthy, or he was going to pass a Wish into Mew if I switched into Tyranitar. Now, that's the thing. I expected 100% for him to switch into Mew here, expecting me to go for Rocks, or for Taunt, or something like that. I don't know. I expected him 100% to go into Mew to get that Wish back up, because that would have really helped his Mew out and made it more annoying to deal with, even poisoned. So I thought for sure I was going to go into Tyranitar, set up the sand, negate this thing's leftovers, and I was going to click Pursuit on this next turn to potentially kill this thing after the poison damage. So literally we've got this thing whittled down to, I believe it's in range of a switch boosted Pursuit, because right there he's at about 30%. So I'm thinking Pursuit's going to do a good chunk. So, but right here he makes a good play and he goes for Protect. So like, okay, he's trying to keep his fat mons alive rather than his offensive pressure. So we're going to try to capitalize on this, and I'm going to try to make it harder for Mew to switch in. So we're going to pretty much guarantee that Mew cannot switch in. We're going to set up Rocks. So I believe here he hard switches out. Either that or he goes for a second Wish. But I click Stealth Rocks here as he goes for, that's right, he goes for Earthquake. He goes for the EQ here. But I click Stealth Rocks, so I want to make sure that Mew couldn't come in, and essentially it would die if it tried to switch in without being a free switch. So yeah, we get Rocks up, and here I'm thinking, okay, he doesn't have Heal Bell, because at this point he is revealed to have Wish, Protect, Toxic, and Earthquake, meaning that one is essentially walled by my Quillfish. This also means that this thing is pretty much set up fodder, or Toxic Spike set up fodder for a Quillfish every time. Also, it spikes fodder for my Deoxys. You can't taunt a Licky Licky unless it's not running Oblivious. But so I think I decided to hard out here into my Gardevoir. Nope, I go into Rotom here. So I wanted to capitalize on any potential switch he went for. But he goes for a Wish here, and I'm like, okay, I just wanted to offensively pressure this thing. Because the Wish spam was real. I wasn't going to let this thing Wish up for free without me getting a really good smack on something. So here I expect him to go for a Protect here, so I click Volt Switch. And this way I can pretty easily. He does go for the Protect as I expected. So I click Volt Switch here. And this way I can pretty much go for a hard switch, as I expect him to go into either his Here I expect him to go into either his Garchomp or his Florges, expecting me to stay in and try to go for a Volt Switch here, so he could chew them hit the best way possible. So here I decide to go. I believe I go hard out into my Gardevoir, expecting those switches, because that was my best way to capitalize. So I hard switch out. Nope, I go into... Man, I'm just catching this all wrong. I go hard into my Deoxys to pressure this thing to potentially start wearing it down. He hards out himself, though. Goes into his Florges, though. Shoutouts to him nicknaming this thing after me. Now, the funny thing is that here, I'm going to pressure this thing 100% to defog. Because the first thing I'm expecting So first thing I wanted is to make sure this thing wasn't getting any more recovery than I was allowing it. He would have had to go for Wish or Synthesis on this thing to guarantee get some recovery back. So here, the first thing I do is I go for Knockoff, because I want to make sure this thing doesn't have leftovers. And that really lets me capitalize on this thing a lot better. He goes for Defog, which I was expecting, because I knew he was going to try to get rid of the hazards, because they're really pressuring his team at this point. And now this floor just has to click Wish here. So I'm expecting 100% to click Wish. So I'm going to go for Spikes, to guarantee that Mew cannot come in for free. It's going to take 12% at least every time it comes in. Now, my thought process on this next turn is because I wanted to scout and see what he's going to do. He clicks Moonblast though. So this thing does about 30%. So I'm like, okay, this thing is not invested in special attack by any stretch of the imagination, because we're predominantly Fizz Def set. We have no Spin F investment, just max HP. We have enough speed to creep a modest version of this thing. So we do go for. Now here's what I'm expecting. I expect him to go for Wish this turn, so I go for Spikes again. But as you can see, he goes for to go for the Wish here. As I go, I believe this turn, I actually go for the I think I go for a third layer of Spikes. Nope, I double out. I switch out. I go into my my Rotom here, because I expect him to go for Protect, but he actually goes for Defog, which makes sense. So he got rid of the 2 layers of Spikes here, which is okay with me. So this time I expect him to go for a Wish again, and so I'm going to go for Volt Switch. However, he makes the play and goes for Protect. So I'm like, okay, this boy's got 2 Wish Protect mons. So I'm like, alright, we're going to have some fun with this. That also revealed to me that he has absolutely no Cleric on this team unless his Mew has Heal Bell. Because Florida's Moonblast, Wish Protect, and Defog. His Licky is Earthquake, Wish Protect, and Toxic. So literally, this thing is capitalized on by Quillfish. Licky's capitalized on by Quillfish. This is an easy time for me. So his defensive mons are really easily checked. So I'm going to Volt Switch here. As I expect him to stay in, considering he thought I might want to switch, like hard switch again. So this time I go into Quillfish, because I 100% expect him to go for the Wish here. Now, the funny thing is here, here's 100% where I start to make some plays that really make this that really put this game in my favor. So right here, I know 100% he has to go for Protect so he doesn't die and waste his Wish. This being said, that also puts me into one play. I go for Toxic Spikes here, as he goes for Protect, which is kind of an obvious prediction. So I click Toxic Spikes here, and that forces him to defog, because he doesn't want to get his Chestnut poisoned. He doesn't want to get his Garchomp poisoned. So this allows me 100% to click Taunt this next turn, because he has already clicked Protect, and I capitalize on that Protect by going for Toxic Spikes. Now he either has to double Protect and hope that he gets it, or he has to go for Wish or Defog. Now here's my guaranteed or Moonblast, which does nothing to my Quillfish because he's not invested. So I click Taunt here. Is 100% my play, right? So we're gonna go for Taunt, and easily we shut down this Florges, because he goes for Wish, which means that he cannot heal this thing back up. He cannot get rid of rocks. He cannot click Protect. He is stuck getting toxic damaged, and his only way to hit me is Moonblast. So the next thing I expect is for him to go into one of 2 mons, either Mew or Garchomp, because I expect setup on Mew. With the leftovers, it kind of screams setup, considering how poorly he took a hit from Rotom and a hit from freaking Gardevoir. So we also may go into Garchomp again, doing the same thing that he did earlier. So I'm going to double Taunt here, make the big boy play here. I'm going to double Taunt, because there is 0 chance of him staying in here. He has no business staying in here with Florges. It makes no sense. It doesn't get him anywhere, and if anything, it kills his Florges if I go for a Poison Jab. So 100% my play here is to go for Taunt. And so As he withdraws, he goes into his Mew, which I'm like, this is perfect. His Mew is incredibly low, and I click taunt here. What this does for me, this really affords me a lot of momentum. He cannot roost. This Mew cannot roost. It is guaranteed to die to any it is guaranteed to die after toxic spikes damage, after poison damage, after like 2 turns, I think. Because counting in leftovers, this thing cannot break past my. This means it also can't set up. If I'd have gone for taunt, and it got into guard jump, he couldn't SD or set up rocks, which was nice. So I switch out here and go into my my Deoxys here to guarantee make sure I can take this thing on. It was my only real switch into a poison boosted facade, and as you see, we take. Well, I say as you see, we take like 35 to. I think we take like 35 to 40%. Yeah, we took like 35% max for that thing. Not even that. We took less than that. We took like 25% from that facade. So, telling me that this thing was more likely a bulky set with setup. I say bulky. It's probably more like a support set with like setup. So we had like max speed, max HP. So here my play 100% is click recover, because if he goes for a taunt, I am in the know of his set, and he dies to poison the next turn anyway. If he goes for a facade again, we can heal back up to nearly full and essentially shrug off these 2 facades he's just gone for. So he goes for facade, he does about 25-30%. We click recover and just nom get all that health back he dealt to us. Literally down to 1 HP less than what I had before. And after this round of poison, I believe he dies to, or I think this round of poison takes him out, which is incredibly good for me. So this thing is knocked out. Now what this does for me is it kind of puts me in a precarious situation, in the fact that he cannot safely bring in his guard chunks. I haven't revealed my last set yet. I revealed spikes, I've revealed knockoff, and I've revealed recover. Now the last move is always up in the air for him. He may know that I have ice beam, but then again he may not. So it's all just dependent upon what he thinks he should do. Now, what I'm expecting is for him to go into Florges again and try to defog these toxic spikes away. So that way I can't bring in Quillfish, or I can't taunt it down again without I don't know. I expect him to defog or to start wish spamming again. He does go into Florges. He makes the play into Florges. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to reveal ice beam here in case I need it later. So my switch in, I believe, this is where I start to think, okay, maybe I can just break this team down a bit. Because if he goes for a defog here, and I go hard into Gardevoir, then I pretty much can have a strong chance to win this game, because his switch-ins to Moonblast do not exist anymore. I guess best switch-in was Charizard. And Mew is his other decent switch-in. Licky Licky is the only thing left, and it's been weakened a small chunk. It did get back up to like 90%, but after 2 Moonblast plus poison damage, it may very well die. So my play here every time was to go into Gardevoir, because I wanted to capitalize on his defog. So that was the point of that. Now, he does go for the defog here. Now, what I'm expecting here is, because I know I can kill this thing after the poison damage with Moonblast, I actually expect him to stay in its sack. There's no reason for him not to, right? Because he's got another fat wisher in the back named Licky Licky that he can just spam versus this thing all day long. But instead he hards into Licky Licky, telling me that he thought that Florges was more important, I guess. I don't know what he was thinking. I guess he wanted to make sure he could keep hazards off the field, in case he thought he could win with Chestnut. Now, the problem here is that I crit his Licky Licky, and normally that would have done around 40 to 45%, as you saw from the last time I hit him, which would have put him pretty much in range of, he would have died to 2 hits. And there's no way he could have protect Salt up, because what he would have had to do was wish. He literally couldn't. And actually, I don't think the crit mattered now that I think about it. But what it did it just to solidify the end of this game, because after poison damage, I think we actually did come out with the win with this set right here anyway. Because but that put him down in range to where a Moonblast was killing him without having to rely on poison damage or rolls. So, this being said, he gets his lefties up, and then he gets the poison damage, and that tells me he's in guaranteed range of the next Moonblast. So right here, we're just going to click Moonblast, because he can't protect, because he's going to be lower. So we click Moonblast again, and down goes Licky Licky. And at this point, this is literally just GG, because he has no Scarfers, or Garchomp's not Scarfed, and his only other potential Scarfer, or his only other Mons, are slower than Gardevoir. So we click Moonblast here, and we just kind of say goodbye to this Gardevoir, or this Garchomp. Because the way I calc this thing, modest Gardevoir one-shots most forms of Garchomp. So, this Florges cannot live this I don't think he can live this Moonblast unless he's Spidef. But, he goes for Protect here, for some reason, I don't know. Which essentially just guarantees puts him in range of Moonblast, even if he's like a max Spidef, max HP, Calm, Assault Vest variant at this point. And now the poison has put him in range, so he is dead. So we can kiss his Florges goodbye. And the last mon he has is Chestnut. And I'm thinking the only reason he preserved this Chestnut for this long is because it was one of two sets. It was either the Sub-Salic set, or it may have been even a Scarf set. I don't know. Like, just the way he was playing it, the fact that he didn't bring it in anywhere tells me that he was more likely really offensive, maybe even Scarf to try to catch me by surprise. And like I said, potentially at level 50, Scarf Chestnut can't outspeed my Mega Pidgeot. So a Scarf Stone Edge would just blow me away. So that would have been a really decent, really nice way to handle that. If I didn't bring this Gardevoir, I would have lost to that, I think. So I actually don't know if he could have locked himself into one move, but he does go into this Chestnut now. And right here, there's no way he lived this unless he was Roselli Berry. So we come in, we click Moonblast, and this thing just straight up drops to the Moonblast. And this time we take the win over J-Specs. For the first time in a long time, we beat J-Specs. So, yeah. Really happy with how my team performed. I kind of want to see if his Licky Licky was oblivious or not. If he was own tempo, it would have made sense too. But in any case, yeah, really happy that my team worked out the way it did. Hopefully we can continue this win streak, and we can potentially make playoffs if we keep winning. So, even though there's only 2 weeks left, this win really put us ahead, really pushed us up the ladder in our division, and top 2 in each division make playoffs. So right now I'm 3rd, I believe, out of 5. So if I win out and one of my opponents that's higher up than me loses, we could be potentially making playoffs here. So, anywho, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you go check out J-Spec's channel. His link should be in the description below if I can get my crap together and actually make a description for once. Anywho, you'll see the battle code is right here in case for some reason you think it would be fun to watch. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And if this all has been for me, this has been Phantom Base. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.